Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. I've decided to add a mod called Angels Add-ons or Silos. You probably remember seeing me use these in the Angels and Bobs series that I did, if you watched that one. Essentially what these are a 4-tile by 4-tile chest with 256 slots. I'm going to go ahead and research this. And then after that, we can also get logistic silos, which are the same thing, but for bots to interact with. So I'm going to go ahead and research that. And I'll get into that more in a moment. But what I wanted to show you here first was what I've done with copper smelting. Oh, okay. I can't do that until I do logistic system. All right, we'll have to wait a bit for that. So this is what I have wrought in the copper smelting area. And I think this is pretty cool, but perhaps a little bit of overkill. All right, so we've got our copper mine over here. None of this is going to a train station right now. I just have it all going over to these train stations. Okay, so you can see they're pretty much full. And what I did is I brought it over and I sent 4 belts over to these 8 loaders, or unloaders, I should say. And so we'll use these as storage. And that way later on, when this is mined out, we'll be able to just start bringing trains to drop off ore, and we won't have to change anything in here. We'll probably pick up all those belts. So 4 go here, and then another 4 come down here to the second ore station, which is also full, as you can see. And because they're full, even though I'm asking for 32,000 ore, it's not going to ask for a train for quite a long time. Okay, and then I have these feeding the first 4 copper lines, and then these are feeding the second 4 copper lines. And I thought about bringing them all together and running them through a balancer, but I think it's not necessary because, and here's why, because because if I get to a point where, let's say let's say one of these stations gets empty and I only have 4 belts, it's not really going to help me to split those 4 belts up amongst 8 smelting columns, because 4 smelting columns will be enough to handle those 4 belts. So that's why I didn't really feel a need to balance. And these are all balanced going in, so I don't see any reason why they would get out of balance until we start bringing it in with trains. Okay, and then after the smelting, it comes up here. These do go to an 8-to-8 balancer. And then here's what I did. To each of these 8, I'm running it through a splitter with priority set to the side that goes to this station. And I'm calling this station plate A. So essentially all the plates are going to go into station A until it's full. And it is full now. We've got 153,600 copper plates. And then when it's full, as you can see, they'll be diverted over to the second station, which is now filling up. And I wanted to do that because, and I've run into this kind of issue in my other series, in my Factorio 16 Let's Play, where I did a fairly large base. I didn't want to split the output between 2 stations because once both stations are empty, let's say, I won't be able to get a train to either one of these to pick up plates until they're both above the threshold to pick them up, which is going to be like 1 train's worth. So that means that I'll have to make essentially 2 train loads of material before either of the stations will activate, and then they'll both activate at the same time. And I didn't like that. So I have it set up this way so that one will fill up first, and then when that one's full, the other one will start to come into play. Now, I might want to change this so that I might want to limit this so that they stop when they get to 32,000 plates 32,000 is 2 train loads. Because then this one will have to get to 153,000 before this one starts to get anything. So I might have to like control the input belts over here so that when it gets to 32,000, it stops accepting new material, and then do the same over here, and then it'll just stop producing at that point. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, so like I said, I think this might be overkill. We'll see how it goes. And then when I set up more smelting, we'll decide if we want to do it like this or just do it in a more simple way like this. I'm kind of inclined to use the more simple way right now, but we may find that this becomes necessary. I used a ton of belts to put all this together. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, 3,000 belts. That's ridiculous. Yeah, used about 3,000 belts. So I'm not sure that I would want to make a habit of doing that. Okay, so let's go back to the main base and make some silos, and then what I want to do is start converting these stations to use silos instead of chests. Right, and I said I would explain why. Oh, the other thing I did is I started making solar panels and roboports for my airplane. That way we can run robots from the airplane. So making those portable solar panels is pretty slow and tedious, but I'll just keep going until I have this full. And I would be surprised if I have any charge at all. Yeah, it's pretty slow. It'll take a while for those to charge up. Okay, so like I said, the reason I wanted to make the silos is because when we're using loaders work best when you can put everything into one big chest and take everything out of one big chest. The way I'm doing it now with having many individual chests, it makes it kind of inefficient. What I mean is, over here I have to use these splitters, to go into 4 different loaders going in. Whereas if I was using, just because I need to split it between 4 chests. Whereas if I had a silo, I could just have a single red loader going into the silo. Now, I'll still have 4 coming out because I want that so that the train loads faster. But then again, like in this case, I could use 2 reds and get the same speed that I'm getting with 4 of the yellow ones. So that's why I want to use silos for these train stations. So I need to make some, and I'm sure I'll end up using a lot of them throughout the game. So I think it would be a good idea to automate it. All right, let's try not to make too much of a mess in our base here. We'll try to maintain the same sort of a flow. Okay, iron. We need... Whoops. Okay. I need iron, steel, and stone brick. I'm going to get rid of that substation, just so I have more room for inserters and stuff. There we go. All right, so this one we're going to make silos. Now this is set up for angels and bobs, so you can see that there's silos for coal, which we could use, but then there's saphirite, givelite, etc. These are all essentially the same. They just have different colors that match the colors of the ore. I'm just going to use plain old silos. All right, those take 5 seconds. Yeah, so I think we can just use regular fast inserters. We'll do that one long. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And then we need another one that's extra long. Okay, and then we'll put a provider chest, yellow inserter, and we'll have this run until silos are less than 50. Or as long as silos are less than 50. I think they stack in 50s. We'll see. Okay, and then I'll just put in a permanent request here to give me a stack of silos. And I'm going to need, let's see, how many am I going to need? I'm trying to see where else I might have to make the change. Over here, I'll leave it. Actually, silos would be good for the uranium 235, so we'll need one for there. That's okay. We've already got bulk loaders. Yeah, so I think basically I just need it up here for our plate outputs. So I'm going to need 8, 16, 24, and I think that'll do it. Okay, so we'll get like 30 of them. I've got 10 so far, and I could always handcraft these too. I really don't want to be picking up all this copper. All right, there's 2. All right, and I'll get rid of some of this copper that I'm holding on to. Okay, you need copper, you need copper. There we go. I don't need these batteries anymore. Okay, I've got 23, 24. All right, so that'll be enough to convert 3 of the stations. Let's go ahead and do that. Get the solar panels that I've got so far. Load those in there. Oh, okay, I only need 3 more. All right, I think we can, I'm going to turn that off. Load that in, and that should give us a full load of solar panels. And I'm just using the plane now because it is pretty fast. Faster than my passenger train at this point. Okay, so first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to cut these belts so that we don't continue feeding it. All right. And then I'm going to put down the silos here, but I'm going to have to move them. But first I need to get all the copper out of these chests and into there. And I'm going to do that just by using Control V, Control V. Okay. So you can see that that's almost a full silo. And then I'm going to do the same. I'll just let it go through. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to do that for everyone. And then when I pick this up, I'll move the silos with picker and put them in the correct position. By the way, somebody told me that that picker has a belt balancer function. And I think it's shift Control B, I think. So you put in how many you have on the input. Yeah, look at that. And then you keep hitting it until you get the balancer that you want with the number of inputs that you have. That's pretty awesome. And then I wouldn't have to carry around my balancer blueprint book. Okay, and like that. Okay, so now I can pick all this up. I'm going to leave the four loaders on the other side. And actually I need to make 5, 10, well, let's just make 24, 15, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that way I've got one for each silo. And again, those will all be upgraded to blue once we get to the point that we need blue belts. But blue belts they're pretty expensive in terms of the resources required. So I don't want to go to blue belts too early because I think it'll just put a severe strain on them all. There. All right, so then we do that and that. I suppose we'll need, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that cut until I get the other ones moved. Now I'm just going to do one of these, and then I'll do one of these, and then I'll do uranium processing, and then I won't make you watch the rest of this. Okay, so here you can see that the bots in the plane are getting involved too, which is what I was looking for. One of the nice things I like about this is that once you start moving an object, you don't have to keep the mouse over it. It'll just remember that that's the one that you're moving, I guess, until you hover over a different object. There we go. And then I can just copy that. Okay, and again, I'm keeping multiple loaders on the output because I want the throughput. I want the trains to load and unload as quickly as possible. So, 4 loaders are faster than 1. That's why I've got 4 on this side and only 1 feeding it. Because in this case, 1 is fast enough to feed it with whatever we can produce. Okay, and then I'm going to need power poles. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, and then I'll remove the silos so I only get the power poles, and we'll slap those down there. Now my bots here are not helping to build because they'll only build when the inventory is in the plane. They won't. These bots won't take anything from my inventory. Okay, so now I think this is where we should set up the input controls on here. So if I set it for 32,000, obviously that's going to be, I'm only going to need 4,000 per silo, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the other thing I could do is I could just limit each silo to 4,000, like this. I think I'll just do that because that's a much simpler solution. Yeah, I'll just do that. Yeah, that's fine. Because I don't necessarily need to stockpile 250,000 plates. If I have the right amount of production, I'll be able to produce just as fast as I'm using stuff. Okay, so it'll be a long time before this gets any more material. I do need to reconnect this over here, though. Okay. All right, so this one's all set, and this will be kind of the model for how we set up the rest of them. But like I said, I won't bore you by repeating this process on camera. But I will do the uranium because it'll be a little bit of a different setup in this case. And while we're here, we can feed the reactors and see how we're doing with fuel cells and stuff. Okay. All right, I've got 30 plutonium fuel cells. Yeah, and like I said, I need to figure out a way to deal with plutonium, because the other thing is that plutonium has its own type of spent fuel cell. You know what? I think when I start using both types of fuel cells, I think I'm just gonna get rid of the fuel control. I mean, I have 1,500 fuel cells already. We probably don't even really need the fuel control at this point. Okay, so here's what I want to do over here. I'm going to get a silo. I hope one will be enough. But I'm going to start moving all this stuff. I might need multiple silos, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm going to need I'm going to need more than one. Okay, maybe not. Wow, that was close. I am going to need more than one if I want this production to continue. All right, so I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to get rid of all this, and let's do it the quicker way. We'll remove that. I'll remove that. Okay. Now, I just have to think, what do I do when this thing fills up? Because when this fills up, then this production is going to stop, which means I'm going to stop getting the regular uranium. So what I'll do is I'll set an overflow. And I'm not even going to use loaders. I'll just use fast inserters, or I'll use some stack inserters. And we don't want these going back and forth perpetually, but this will hold 100 times 256. That's what, 25,600. So we'll say that we'll enable this if uranium is greater than 25,000. Okay. And we'll enable this if it is less than or equal to 25,000. All right, so that way this thing should never have more than 25,000 in it. But once it gets over 25,000, then it'll start to put the extra in here. But by having it go back in when it's not full, then we can continue to pull only from this silo and just use this as extra storage. Okay. So there we go, and then we will load it there. Like that. Okay, yeah, so when we're down to these last 6, that's when the inserters will kick in. And here, I think we're okay with just the chest. What was this for? Why do I have that inserter there? All right, I don't think we really need that. We can just do that, right? Okay. Yeah, so all that looks good. Let's see how we're doing over here. Those are wooden chests. All right, so I'll just grab as many of these as I can carry. In fact, I can use the plane to help me out with that. All right, and we still got a bunch left. So I'll take this over and give it to the reactors, because they're not doing us much good over there. One thing I've noticed is that you can't exit the plane unless you're standing someplace where you can freely get out. I'll replace these with steel chests for now, so we have more storage capacity, and we'll do that. All right, and then I'll have to do that a couple more times. And this is where having the other plane would be better. All right, I'll take all that stuff. All right, and then I'll take the spent fuel cells and we'll take those back. All right, and those go there? No. Those go here. Why isn't this running? Oh, okay, because I need to put... All right. I need to put the uranium somewhere. I think I never did that. Okay, so now that's going. All right, well, that's going to do it for today. In the meantime, I will finish setting up the silos in the other places where they belong. And then after that, I want to start to set up a green circuit production area. So we'll get started on that the next time too. I'll have to figure out where to put it, but I think probably putting it close to copper would be a good idea. The copper plate trains are going to be exiting here and here. So if it exits here, it can enter here. So maybe I'll just put it up here. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.